we're in the studio in '85 and he has this great piece. And I just got the idea of having Jerry Murata, the drummer, play drum on the bass strings while I fingered the left hand. And it took a long time. The other guys left the studio, left us doing it with the engineer, and we did it. Okay, and that's the way we did it in the recording. A year later, the record came out. Not a year later, but quite a bit later. And I heard it thinking, oh, I wonder, how great is this going to sound? And oops, it's a synth bass, not me. It's Peter. Peter played it. Cool sound. And then there's, as the introduction, as we just heard, there's a little bit of what Jerry and I did. And then you didn't hear this now, but it goes back to the synth bass. And then when we toured with it, a couple things. First of all, I wanted to play the part that I thought was really special, but I didn't have Jerry, or Jerry was there, but I didn't have him to play.
Wait a minute, just explain to me how he played. He was literally playing his sticks on the strings.
Yeah, he was sitting like you are, and I believe I had the bass. We were sitting closer than this. Yeah, it's just physically we worked it out. So he could just play on the string, and we worked out a part and which string he's going to hit at which time. And I was just doing the left hand, which was pretty easy. It just seemed like a good idea. Outside of the box,
so
Peter
cool.
Gabriel record. Yeah, so we're touring, and well, there's a few things of it. The crew guys, Peter's crew guys, gave me his synth sound, sound. So, and I always have keyboard with Peter there, so I can play the same part. But what I'm interested in is this, and I'm practicing every day at soundcheck with one drumstick. And one day at soundcheck, Peter Gabriel walked by me and said, "Why don't you put 2 drumsticks on your fingers?"
So this is how this started.
And I facetiously turned to Andy Moore, my bass tech, saying, "Can we do that, Andy?" And then Andy did that. He chopped them off, and we experimented through the tour with different kind of Velcro grips because they could fly into the audience or turn my fingers purple. Rubber for the end, because if they're just wood, the string wins, the metal string wins.
Sure.
They would only last 2 shows, and there'd be nothing left at the end. And then I named them Funk Fingers and went about trying to make them with the hope that some other bass players might like them and find something cool to do with them. What's remained in my life ever since, and still does, is that synth part versus the Funk Fingers part, because I can play the whole thing with Funk Fingers, but Peter would prefer that I play the whole thing on synth. But Peter's busy during the song,
right?
So as you can imagine, as the tour goes on, I play more of it on this, and I got or I could hit with the Funk Fingers, hit the notes, or back and forth. And eventually, maybe he'll have a chance to listen to a tape or see a video, and then the front of house engineer will come up to me and say, "Peter would rather you go back to his part." Peter just didn't want to have that. He's not like distant from me. He just didn't want to bother telling me that.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
So it's what would you call it, a very friendly, passive-aggressive relationship about that part. And I like the synth, let me say, about the synth bass part. I love the sound of it, and I like the quirkiness of it, but somehow in the choruses it doesn't satisfy the bass guy within me.
Right.
My body just doesn't like, so I have a hard time playing it the way he did it. I could change it with the synth sound and play it in a more bass way. So it's been an interesting, it's a whole relationship on that one song.
Do you have your Funk Fingers with you?
I do. Something like that, and then I would or try to play it with these on the synth just for fun. Let me tell you something else about this. In 2016, Peter did a joint tour with Sting. Typically on those kind of tours, eventually it'll be one song of each, and the band will leave the stage. Well, I would stay on the stage, but Sting really liked that part. Of course, the bass player in him gravitated.
Of course.
And he said, "Can I play that?" And I said, "Yeah, dude, come." And he would come over to me, but he didn't know about these. He was doing it with thumb slaps. Yeah, pretty great. And I would just be playing the synth, thinking, "Peter, do you see this? What's going on behind you? Sting is playing that part, and you don't mind when Sting does it."
So those are rubber. Can I? Those are like drumsticks with rubber on the end?
Yeah, there's this stuff called tool handle dip.
Okay.
It's a can this big with some amazing liquid. Take the top off. You dip your screwdriver in, and you pull it out, and it's rubber. So needless to say, this is not healthy stuff to spend your time inhaling.
Yeah.
So we learned that 2 or 3 coats of that are perfect. So they last decades. Wow. Yeah. Needless to say, I turn the treble way down or off if I'm using these because they have a lot of high end.